Do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do. Yes, yes, yes. Good that you are watching to the weekly Monday stream here on the channel. And yeah, I see people in the chat already. That's great. So I already did my whole intro and stuff on a separate feed. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Well, don't worry, we're gonna repeat everything for if you missed it. So thanks as always. We are, of course, every week I'm going live here on the React channel. Want to go more in depth on the gaming news. I actually have some topics again that we didn't really do previously. So that's exciting. We're gonna dive a little deeper into Ubisoft stories and also the Cory Barlog situation. And I want to start all these streams while the chat is coming in. I see Saber Knight already, JJ, Severus, good to see everyone. I want to start the stream every week now. So even if you like don't plan on watching the whole stream, if you're like watching later, you already know, okay, I can at least see this coming week. Because of course in the Sunday video at the end on the main channel, we do a this coming week section. And that means that, yeah, I look at everything that is happening in the next few days. So let's do that here as well. Slawo Year Mir, thanks for joining. Alan, is this happening? It is. It is really happening. We're here. Okay, so I just want to go to the Sunday video, of course. Check it out if you haven't already. And kind of look at what's happening this week. So we have the release of Wu Chang Fallen Feathers on Thursday. So that's pretty exciting. This is, of course, a new Souls-like that I've been keeping on my radar for a long time. I think in particular the kind of abilities our main character can do look interesting. It's releasing on Game Pass and on PlayStation and on Steam as well. So you can check it out there. We will have tips and tricks up for the game. So if you're planning to play it, there will be tips on the main channel. Yeah, it kind of looks similar, but it is a different game. This is Where Winds Meet. And there's actually a beta test happening at the end of this week throughout the next week. It's the final beta test. It's basically a Chinese, or basically Ghost of Tsushima set in China by a Chinese developer. I played it like a year ago and I was pretty impressed. So really curious to see how it plays now. And yeah, we will probably do videos on that too. So if you want to apply for that, again, there's a console and PC beta. Hit the link that we put in the Sunday video. So then you kind of know what's up. Then we also have, I put like Assassin's Creed Shadows in the this coming week section too. If you've been following the game, of course, you know that they first did a new update every 3 weeks, then every 4 weeks, and now we're in that 4-week window, and they have not announced an update yet, so that means that very likely next week there will be an update, so 5-week schedule then. And yeah, then we will hear about it this week probably. So if we hear anything, I will of course let you know. So I'm really curious what they have been cooking over there. And yeah, I think that was kind of it in the this coming week section. Also, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Dennis, we got invited actually to go to S Game, the developer of Phantom Blade Zero. So they will be, yeah, having us. Dennis will be going for us. And yeah, he will be going to China, and then we have a lot of like new info and gameplay and impressions and all that sort of stuff regarding Phantom Blade Zero. So pretty exciting. We're still in the summer, the dry summer, but there are some exciting things happening for sure. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining, as always. Ellen is asking, do you play Pokemon? Man, I played almost every Pokemon game, but I fell off after Sun and Moon. Or the island one, that ones that were on the island. Was it Sun and Moon? Yeah, I did not play that. And then after that, man. Have you seen the GTA 6 leaks? GameWire's news. You mean it's running 60 FPS? I really don't believe that guy that is reporting it. So, I don't know. China can only make gacha and Souls like, huh? Well, not really. Like looking at Black Myth Wukong, we got of course Blob Message coming. That looks very, very cool. So yeah, they are like Black Myth Wukong has opened their eyes. Obviously, they were already working on these projects before Black Myth Wukong became a success. But yeah, the Black Myth Wukong success opened the eyes that hey, if we make a AAA, very, very polished third-person action-type game, people will show up too. And yeah, Phantom Blade Zero is of course another one of those. That's not a Souls-like, by the way. Yeah, and it's not a gacha game either. So last year was Wukong, this year's Wuchang. Let's go. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm not sure if Wuchang will be like... Wuchang does seem more Souls-like than Wukong was, but we will have to wait and see. It's coming out in a few days. I'm struggling what themed custom Game Boy Advance SP I need to order. That Lugia one is amazing, that silver one. Although I like the Ho-Ho gold one too, so yeah. It depends on your preference. Utter woke nonsense, another Chinese Dark Souls, what happened to the game that I love? I don't know what you're saying, Banku. But yeah, I don't agree with any of that. Saber Knight saying, any Horizon Usenet? You can ask every week. I will of course let you know when there is any Horizon news. But maybe it's kind of good that they've been going to the background, because after Horizon Online, they're gonna go crazy with that. But yeah, that seems more like again, I think either September announcement or yeah, Game Awards or later in the year. Let's see. Bro, Pokemon games are so expensive. An unopened Pokemon game. Okay. You do you, I guess. I think the third Animus project might not feature legacy outfits, but it will feature some Nihilway and legendary items. They will keep legacy outfits for the future. We will see, Severus. I hope that the new update actually adds new projects. JJ is asking, do you think Lost Soul Aside might get delayed again? So that is the Chinese Hero project from Sony, of course. Not sure if people still remember that. It looks a lot like Final Fantasy. So this is another non-Souls-like, non-gacha Chinese game. So no, they are making a lot of different games. I think it's gonna come out, but they are very quiet, and I think they're kind of sending it out to die with that August window. It's not great. I think this would have been way better in January if they pushed it to like January 2026. I want to keep an open mind though, but I don't know. If I get like an early code, I might play it, but it's like around Dying Light, so I will probably play that. And we have games come around that time, so it's kind of busy. But if it gets like very, very good reviews, then I will probably give it a look. Give it a look. But I do think it looks kind of awesome. If we don't see it's a September state of play, it's cooked. I don't think that. But yeah, I do like they have to show Horizon Online at some point. But I don't think if yeah, I think it could still be like if we don't see it next year, then I have my doubts. But if we, yeah, if they're taking their time, and I hope they're doing like a test very early, and then they still have some time to fix things. Although I'm afraid that they might do like a very short reveal to announce to a release window. Definitely want to play this, but I have to play Metal Gear first. Yeah, again, the release date with like around Metal Gear is not great. It's like launching in the same week, right? So that's not great. So yeah, we have quite some topics to go over, so I want to do that already. Let's start with one of the Ubisoft topics. Let's do the broader one that I have. Let's see. So yeah, I have 3 topics this week, and actually there will be a lot of topics regarding Ubisoft. They are actually doing a let me see. This is a teaser for a later topic. They are actually doing a investor call tomorrow, so they might. I think during that investor call, Severus, they will confirm at least the release window for the DLC for the Shadows DLC. So that's 6 p.m. Central European time when the investor call happens tomorrow. So I do think that will be interesting for you as well. I hope Horizon Online is this year and is a fun multiplayer game. I don't think it will be this year, because with Ghost of Yotei, of course, in October, they don't have a lot of time. To be fair though, having that in January is cool. But yeah. Helldiver, good to see you as well. Good to see you as well. Okay, let's go to the first topic. Let's see, I have it here somewhere. Wappy wappy whoopoo, wappy wappy whoopoo, wappy wappy. Okay, this one is still for this. So do 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 do. So I want to get this one out of the way first before we move on. Look at the investor call. That happens tomorrow. If there's like a lot of interesting news, I will do of course a video on it. But yeah, let's do it. We got some Ubisoft updates in the dry summer. They confirmed some interesting things during an annual shareholders meeting. And they also responded to things like, is Assassin's Creed Shadows too woke? What about the Stop Killing Games petition? I will share my thoughts on all those things as well. Let's start over here at Insider Gaming, where they note that Ubisoft confirms a new first-person Ghost Recon game is in development. And I want to do a small applause for Tom Henderson, because he reported this way earlier. And yeah, now Ubisoft basically said, yo, this is correct. Tom Henderson, of course, an amazing track record. So great, good job on him. So basically, yeah, they were talking about their future slate. Ubisoft CEO or CFO Frederick answered a question about how Ubisoft will use the investment from Tencent, to which he said that it will be used for future development of other major brand names. So we've got Ghost Recon is just one example of our first-person shooter type games. Yeah, and him noting that basically confirmed, yo, the next Ghost Recon is gonna be first person. Let me know what you think of that, of course. I know, yeah, many people like the third person perspective, but we had like Ready or Not launch on console. It already sold 1 million in 4 days. And it does seem, according to Tom Anderson as well, who already saw some gameplay of this new Ghost Recon, that it looks a bit like that. So maybe Ubisoft's making a right bet by going for the first person market. And we also want to boost our live games, such as The Crew and For Honor. I think it's overall pretty interesting, because Tencent, of course, invested $1.25 billion into a Ubisoft subsidiary focused on Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry. And now they're basically saying, yo, Tencent, thanks for that money. We're also using that to invest in our other games. Probably, of course, they're going to use it to invest in Rainbow Six as well, in Assassin's Creed, to, yeah, have more games out, release content more rapidly, as we're looking at Shadows right now. It could use it. And Far Cry as well, of course, building that to be more than just a open world, single-player co-op type situation. They want to also, I mean, all those Ubisoft games are getting mobile titles as well, that they're holding back, like The Division has one, Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed. When are they going to launch? I don't know, but a Far Cry mobile game seems in the cards. Also an Extraction Far Cry shooter seems to be happening. But yeah, this is news number one. We also got like many other things. I will leave a link to this article from Stephen Totillo from GameFile in the video description. But basically, during that annual shareholder meeting, we see Yves Guillemot sit over here. Yeah, they had some questions regarding their recent titles. So, woke or not woke, how do you explain Ubisoft's deterioration? I really struggle with this word. Let's ask Google Translate. Oh. I think this is where my dyslexia is.
Deteriorated.
Deteriorated, okay. It's not helping me. Okay. So, woke or no woke, how do you explain Ubisoft's deteriorated reputation, which may actually challenge the foundations of your organization? So, is that a show of openness on your part, or are you going to backtrack or backpedal on that leftist political agenda? Is there room for entertainment world for that kind of stance? So this person also asked, secondly, what about the accusations that video games are being killed? And there's these petitions with thousands of signatures. I think it's already crossing 1 million right now, which is crazy. How do you make sure that games remain playable and accessible even after server support is discontinued? This petition was initiated in 2024 after Ubisoft announced the end of server support for The Crew, a game bought in 2010. And now in 2024, the servers have shut down and the game cannot be played anymore. So, he first responds to the whole woke situation. We're also seeing it now with Ghost of Yotei, and I'm kind of over. I was over it from moment one, and yeah, now they're trying to cancel Ghost of Yotei for I don't even know the reasons. People are looking for things, and I just don't get that. For a hobby like gaming, you are trying to make people angry or trying to find things that you don't like. Like, if you don't like a game, play another game. Focus on actually the fun in games. But hey, so obviously with regards to this particular game, what was our goal? We wanted to showcase the characters with heroic journeys. I mean, Eve, of course, cannot... Why ask this? Like, he's not gonna give you an interesting answer or anything. Everyone wants to play a hero's journey. You shift your circumstances and have become something more. And it's a very powerful expectation from the game. This hero quest, and it doesn't just apply to Ubisoft. This is an actual character. This is someone who really existed, talking about Yasuke. And showcasing that character has been extremely successful. And that is why we decided to tell the story. We wanted to tell a different story. Again, I'm not like... I think the story in Shadows in general wasn't really exciting. But I do think that them going for Yasuke instead of like picking a Japanese character, while they had Naoe, of course, the Japanese character, I think was pretty interesting. Like that also shows some balls, and also it does give you an interesting perspective, an interesting different look at this world. So yeah, I still really believe that is why they went with it, but I do think they kind of. It wasn't worth it for them, probably because of all the outrage that it caused, which just sucks. So then he is talking about, regarding the petition, we operate in the market, and whenever we release a game, we provide a lot of support for that game. We also provide a lot of services to make sure that the game is accessible and remains playable 24/7. So we provide information regarding the game and how long it can be played, and players and buyers are forewarned that eventually the game might be discontinued. Now, what happened with this game, there was a €1 fee proposed to all buyers of the game. For just €1, they got the next version. Like, The Crew 2 was sold for €1. €1, that's not a lot of money to be able to continue playing a game. And we also announced that the game would be available offline in the future, so that players could continue to play it. So this is an issue that we've been dealing with. So that's, of course, talking about, people were angry that The Crew won. They bought it, they could not play it anymore. But yeah, Ubisoft said, for €1 you can play the sequel. Obviously, your save, I don't think, works on the sequel, but it's a pretty good gesture, and they are doing an offline mode for The Crew. I really think with the Stop Killing Games petition, I think it's like, on one end, I get it, that you buy a game and you want to play it forever. But I really think in this digital age, that's just, like, it's with an app as well. You buy an app, and at one point, it costs money to maintain the service. At one point, it's just not feasible anymore. How many people were playing The Crew 1 when Ubisoft decided to cancel the game or remove it after 14 years? Now, I do think it's better that they do an offline mode. That is like the best thing, I think. So you can still, sure, you cannot access all the features, but you can still play the game if you want to. And I do think for... game preservation, it's very good as well that all these games remain playable. But I also think that, I get the companies as well. I get that it's not worth it for the 3 people that are still playing these old games to keep the servers on. That is costing them more money. And, there's way more outrage than people actually going back to these old games, I think. Quick Dex, people want to play a game forever, but then they cry about Fallout because it was too long. You can't please everyone. Again, it really feels like it makes sense that you buy something and then basically it gets taken away from you later on. That sucks because for furniture or, at one point a chair, of course, basically at one point it wears out, but for old games, I mean, for old games as well, if you have a PS2, at one point your PS2 is not working anymore, so you cannot play that game. But then you can still play it on a newer PS2. Like, there are so many moving parts. I really think that you have to understand. People have to be smart enough to know that if you buy a game with online features, you cannot always play it. It makes sense in my mind. And yeah, it's with a lot of other things as well, like on Netflix as well. But there you of course don't own it, so that's like the subscriptions. Yeah, again, I think we're now in this digital age. It just makes sense. If I buy a vinyl with music on it, at one point my vinyl will not work anymore because it's just worn out. It just doesn't. Yeah, it makes. Yeah. My PS1 still works. I take care of all my stuff. Happy for that is great. That is great. But I do think there are way more people that are caring about this than are actually going back to these games. Because if the companies show the numbers, do we really have to for that one on the Blue Monday that you want to play the game for 1 hour that you bought 50 years ago, we have to maintain the servers? I don't know. But again, if they go focus on an offline mode, I do think that's the best way forward. And it's easier said than done, obviously. But yeah, here, you provide a service, but nothing is written in stone at the point the service may be discontinued. Nothing is eternal, and we're doing our best to make sure that the things go well for our players and buyers, because obviously support for all games cannot last forever. But that's an issue that we're working on. That's something the industry at large is working on to minimize impact on players. But clearly that's something that you need to factor in. Again, I do think that if you buy a game nowadays, like, if it's like you buy a game and then after a year, like, for example, if you bought Concord and then Sony discontinued the servers after two weeks and they did not refund you, that is an issue. But after 14 years, come on. So yeah, I think it's a bit more nuanced. But look, I totally signed that petition, of course. Like, I'm all for consumer rights, but I think the situation is way more nuanced than pointing to the publishers saying, "Yo, what the heck are you doing?" Then, of course, like, that is basically what the situation we're kind of in right now, with the gaming industry. Basically regarding bigger games and the danger of big games flopping. And Ubisoft has, I think, in terms of all the companies, had the most flops in recent years. So yes, games cost a lot to make. There's a lot more risk out there because it is a more competitive market. There have been a lot of investments in the market since COVID. Over 2 years, there was almost a 4-fold increase in development investments. A lot of new studios. And we're seeing all those games release right now. And that's why it's insanely crowded, for example, in 2025. That put a lot of pressure on everyone in the industry, and in particular for those with evergreen games, the games that are constantly turn revenue every year. Like Rainbow Six, that's a perfect example. The company has invested heavily in its ability to develop these sort of games, but it's not easy. Basically, next to Rainbow Six, they have For Honor that's still doing pretty well. The Crew has some live service elements, of course. But yeah, they were unable, even though they tried multiple times, to make, like, they don't have like a successful free-to-play game, which is kind of wild. Now, of course, they made Rainbow Six free. But yeah, Ubisoft has been struggling, but some of these games work, some don't, some sell, some don't. But it's an investment that we have to do to ensure that we will have a couple of games well rooted in the gaming environment, so we can continue to get revenue from them. So we've been working on that. And this is basically the whole situation with Sony as well. Everyone is like, okay, you canceled all these games. Sony banned the Days Gone developers, will probably not release a game during the PS5 generation. Bluepoint, after the amazing Demon's Souls remake, will likely not release anything for the next few years. Companies got closed. Concord happened, 400 million down the drain. Still, they keep going. They're not like waving a white flag. They're not like giving up at all, because if you have a game that works, and Helldivers is their one shining light that shows them, okay, this works, but what if we got a bigger one? And that's why, yeah, it's insane. That's why the reward is so great that, yeah, they have to keep trying. And yeah, they see that with Rainbow Six Siege as well, that in 10 million made like 4 billion in revenue, more than the Assassin's Creed in 10 years. Which crazy, because Assassin's Creed, of course, released many games. So if you look at Rainbow Six and other games of that ilk, it's exactly what we're trying to do. So Valorant is top 5 game, Rainbow Six is the top 15 game. What we want to do with this game is to have it in the top 10 and then top 5 eventually. Again, the 10-cent money should help with that. So our teams have been working on completely overhauling our creation systems so we can have more content more regularly released with better suited gaming model. We've also looked at other business modes, and that's why there's now free access in the game. So yeah, that's why they're now doing free to play. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. They also have this. So basically they're saying, yeah, we are, so basically a developer, a Ubisoft employee was like, considering the higher product cost of AAA games, which require significant sales in order to ensure profitability, would it be strategically important that you continue to explore developing AA games? Yes, we're looking at two different kinds of projects. There are games, such as Anno, for example. It's smaller budget than the blockbusters. Riders Republic, same thing. And there are other games, such as Rayman. All those have smaller budgets, and this means higher profitability levels. In other words, we can achieve those profitability targets faster, based on the level of sales. Of course, the profitability is then less than with the big blockbusters. To be fair, though, I would argue Prince of Persia was part of this too. The Lost Crown, but that was like a $50 game, and they sold 2 million, which is still kind of wild, and it was not enough. So it really depends also if they have realistic sales targets, because yeah, Prince of Persia was an amazing game, did not sell nearly enough. And this is the Ghost Recon part that we already went into. Again, Ubisoft will have, as I already said during the stream, if you watch the video you don't know, but they will have their investor call very soon. So we have some new info on that. I will, of course, keep you up to date on all of that. So subscribe, like, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye. Let me back. Oh. Been playing Anno. Nice, the beta. Hey Black Knight, good to see you. It's also related to games which are played now and in the future. Hey Jack, good to see you. And then I think you have been, you have been banned from the Discord for good reason, so we cannot let you in, sadly. 2026, Token, Neo 3, Saros, new game revealed in September, Fair Games Marathon. I don't know if Horizon will be 2026 as well. And you're forgetting like a big game, like they want either Wolverine or Intergalactic in 2026 or early 2027. Is there new info on that Horizon Monster Hunter game, or was it cancelled? Hello, Melissa. Again, a lot of people are asking this, which is nice. I want to know this too, but we have no new info. When we do, I will of course let you know. What we can do though is always go. I'm on PTO this week, finally getting to close to finishing the story of Shadows. That's insane. After 130 hours. Would be perfect if they launched New Game Plus soon for you then. They waited for you, Saber Knight. So of course, my homepage, the Join Guerrilla Games section. Senior Product Designer. Guerrilla Games is on a mission to create beautifully crafted content, authorizing tools that it meets the world-class content creators and developers. Oh. Decima is used. About the role. Our users are top of their... As a product designer of Decima, you will contribute to all aspects to the end user. Okay, so they're focusing more on their engine, of course. Like more teams seemingly inside Sony are going to use Decima, And of course, Death Stranding 2 was like that game, technically insane. Lead creature animator, who's passionate about bringing machines to life. Okay. Lead and mentor a team of animators focused on machine animation. Define animation styles and motion language together with animation. New machine behaviors, content patterns, and traversal mechanics. Ooh. More flying. We already had diving. What else? What is new? Ensuring animations are not only visually compelling, but also clearly communicated gameplay and feedback. Experiencing gameplay with strong focus on gameplay for the non-human entities. Like they had like a lot of job openings for online, but now they are more vague about it. They just like do guerrilla games. First it said like online, but they have been kind of, yeah, they've been changing that. So you're probably working on both games, I would say. So both both online and Horizon 3. But sometimes they have like a live in the, like a live phase or something. But this also does seem for the Horizon 3. Senior tools stylized. Oh, this is for the online game. The stylized. I'm still so scared for the graphics of this game. But yeah, this is all we know. Trust me, I've been here, bonus for live phase and online experience. So this is someone, there's still senior stylized. As part of a champion of artistic vision and quality standards while mentoring and helping guide others, fostering growth and development. But really, with all these job openings, I'm really like, okay, so if you still need a senior stylized person for a game that should be out next year, is it not too late? Lol, I feel special. I've been doing the same thing to Gorilla's homepage. That would be an amazing dream drop, but I'm in manufacturing. Is this the one with Fortnite graphics? Well, Jack Smith, let's hope not. I hope it's not. Like, that leak was from 2021. Are you sure Saros isn't the big game next year? Yes, Remote Tenolo, good to see you as always. Yeah, we are 100% sure that that is not the game. Because if we go... Why do I have this like very quickly lined up? Let's see if this actually works though. Before no, it's not. It doesn't work. Sony computer. No, Sony investor content. What was it called? Content. PlayStation. Oh wait, we're going somewhere. PlayStation. No, I was speaking too soon. Yeah, the business presentation. If we go over here, we have the presentational material. Scroll down, 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 down. Here. Annual tentpole releases, underpinned by established and emerging franchises. So basically, Saros is nowhere to be found, which is interesting because we know the game is launching next year. But yeah, it just shows you, like, Saros is probably $100 million project maximum. Smaller team, of course. It doesn't have the mainstream appeal that a Ghost of Yotei has. So, yeah. Next, like, between April 2026 and March 2027, we're gonna get either Intergalactic or Wolverine. So that's exciting. But yeah, no Saros. I think Saros might be early 2026, actually. I don't think giant machines with a squad can be so great. I agree. I do agree. I wonder when Horizon 3 will be released. Well, Mackerman, me too. I think it's gonna be... I've always said, so if next year's Horizon Online, I think 2028 at the earliest, but it's likely gonna be later. Even though Forbidden West is 2021, right? But they did Burning Shores. That came out in 2022. No, Horizon Forbidden West was 2022. So Burning Shores 2023. 2022, 2028, 6 years. But yeah, the majority of the team is on the online project. Intergalactic spring release would be dope. I think if Intergalactic is the game that is coming out in that window, it's gonna be early 2027 probably. I'm really excited to play Dying Light the Beast. Me too, Kenny. Yeah, Jojo. I think Intergalactic might also be first, and then Wolverine. Looking at the creative director change. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for sure. Now let's talk about some other Sony stuff. I wonder when Starfield will be released on PS5. I play Starfield on Steam and Xbox, but I want to play it on PS5 as well. I think they might go for an early 2026 window. Like, I think that maybe Outer Worlds 2. If Microsoft launched Starfield in September, like they had their whole September thing last year, they basically did the expansion on the release date or a little later of when Starfield came out. But I think they're looking at, okay, if we launch Starfield at the end of September on PS5 and then launch Outer Worlds 2 a month later on PS5, which is basically, that's kind of a similar game, then yeah, I do think that you would have too much overlap. So I think it makes sense that they also give Bethesda more time to work on this second expansion. It has to be better than the first one. And yeah, it's also a way quieter early 2026 window, at least right now. What you got your eyes on? What do you mean, East Blue Drew? Kenny, I bet Dennis is pumped to go to China and play Phantom Blade. I think so too, for sure. Hope, yeah. I'm kind of jealous as well. But we have to share the things we get, of course. House Mark on Twitter said Sarah's gameplay will be shown this year, so either August or October, most likely October. Why? They have a state of play likely in September before Tokyo Game Show. They could do Game Awards. But I think September state of play and then announce like a February date. I could see that happen. Okay, let's go to Cory Barlog. Okay. We know about Intergalactic. We know about Wolverine. But there does seem at least one big single-player game still happening during this PS5 generation. And that's the one from Cory Barlog, of course, the director from God of War 2018. He did not direct Ragnarok, still like gave tips and was like a producer on it. But instead he was working on his own project, so since 2018. We now have a bit more info, thanks to Jason Schreier and another person, regarding this project. And I kind of want to talk about what I think this is as well. Of course, your input more than welcome in the comments down below. So we go over to Reset Era first, because this is what Jason says. I'll put it this way, it's not a new IP. We always thought it was a new IP. So, it's not a new IP, but it might feel like one. Why we, and I also thought it was a new IP, was because of this interview from April 2018, just before Ragnarok or God of War 2018 came out. This is what Cory said.
I really would love to create something of my own next.
Right.
Something that really is truly 100% coming from my original vision. That would be awesome. But we'll have to see if I can convince Sony of that one.
Well, I suspect you won't have too many problems convincing people of that.
So, this was very interesting. He basically said, yo, I of course re-envisioned God of War for a modern audience. Huge success. By this point, we knew the game had 10s across the board. And yeah, Skill Up was asking, yo, what do you want to do next? And this is what Cory said. So that's why we thought, okay, it's going to be a new IP. Because my thought always was, okay, Cory is like, yo, Sony, I can stay at the studio, still oversee God of War, help the people, etc., share tips, if I can make a new IP. And then Sony was like, okay, that we want to invest in new franchise as well. We want to keep you, so you get to work on a new IP. And then, of course, the bulk of the team goes and make Ragnarok. So that Jason now says, boom, it's not a new IP, but it might feel like one. It's very interesting. Maybe that's why people are confused. People don't ask me more questions about this. If I wind up reporting more information at any point in the future, I'll be in an article and a forum. So we got a little bit more info. I can also infer that Ashlong knows what they are talking about. So this is also a Reddit user or a recent era user. And Ashlong said it's not a licensed IP. And Jason Schreier said that they know what they're talking about. So not a sci-fi and it's an existing Sony IP. So it's not a licensed thing. It's not like a Marvel thing. And yeah, Jason also said that sci-fi stuff that people apparently believe for years now, it's nonsense. Why we thought the sci-fi stuff was basically that Corey was like teasing on Twitter. He changed his banner to like a space, like to space stuff. He also had been like, all those tweets are gone, so I cannot really show you them, but basically there were a lot like transmission, blah blah blah. So we all thought, yo, it's a sci-fi IP. This Superman thing is that Cory Barlog like shared his pitch for a Superman game. So at first we thought, oh, maybe that is what they're doing. So it's not a new IP, it's Superman. But no, it's not a licensed thing either. So that leaves us with two possible scenarios, in my opinion. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. One, they went back into the Sony catalog, looked at another dormant IP, and were like, we can reimagine this for a modern audience as well. Just like we did with God of War. And Corey was like, yeah, I can do that. And yeah, of course, he has done it before, so let him have it. Still though, with him saying, I want to make something that is like 100% my own, blah, blah, but also with Sony still being like, but, God of War is the biggest thing we have. Ragnarok has sold 15 million units worldwide 1 year after it came out. I think Spider-Man 2 has not even sold 15 million. Horizon Forbidden West has not sold 15 million. We will see Ghost of Yotei, but I think Ghost of Tsushima did not even sell 15 million. God of War is the biggest thing Sony has. Also with Spider-Man, they have to give 30% to Marvel, so the money the profit is way less. So Sony it's in their best interest to be like, we want as much God of War as possible. And is it worth it for them to have Sony Santa Monica go on this 6-year or whatever journey after Ragnarok to make a new IP? Again, we know it's not a new IP, but basically a new thing. And that might not work out while they could have worked on more God of War. So I think the best sort of midway through this is what if, and that is still a very enormous task, Corey is making a God of X. A God of something else. No Kratos, no familiar characters, completely blank slate, new mythology, different gameplay elements maybe. I do think they should keep the third-person action gameplay that they have in the recent Norse games. But that, I think, would still give him the freedom, maybe, like a lot of freedom to make something that is his own. And they can expand the God of War franchise beyond Kratos and beyond the Norse saga. Obviously, that always seemed like a logical next step. But I always thought, okay, Kratos is going to a next pantheon, and I still kind of want that. And I know many people are like, I don't want God of War without Kratos. But I do think that if someone can make a scare about a new character, it's gonna be Corey. So, yeah. Because also if we have this, again, Corey was not a director on God of War. But he did say to Eric Williams, who was the game director on Ragnarok, 3 things that needed to happen in Ragnarok, according to Cory Barlog. So, you could like look at it from two ways. One, he said this because he already had an idea for the Ragnarok story, and this just makes sense and would make the game better. But you could also be like, okay, he's saying those things because he has plans for his own projects where there might be crossover. So let's quickly look at those three things. Of course, spoilers for Ragnarok. So what are the three things? Well, Ragnarok is gonna happen. That makes sense. The kid has got to leave, and Brock's going to die. So obviously this is more a... But that's of course like, that leaves Sindri in an interesting spot. I still think the whole Sindri situation is far from over. I think it's interesting that he had these three things that had to happen. Even though, like, if he was making a completely new IP, or not God of War related, it's kind of weird to still demand these three things. Again, it could be because he already had a story in mind after 2018. But like, these things have to happen, the kid has to go. That is what other people are saying. Maybe he takes Atreus, makes him like way older, makes him a way more capable character so people actually like him more. I mean, people were 50-50 on the God of War, or on the Atreus Ragnarok sections. So yeah, with him, like, Corey had to have Atreus at that point in the Ragnarok story because he was elevating that. He was building on that. I don't know. I think it would be way better if he started with a new character. But still, I just... The big reason why I think it might be like God of War related as well, apart from the financial incentives and all that sort of stuff, is also because I don't know what other IP from Sony would be worth getting the $100 million+ investment to have Corey, because he, from 2018, has been working on this. They're taking a ton of developers from Santa Monica that are not working on God of War if it's not God of War. And I do think there's so much potential in the God of War franchise to expand that beyond Kratos. Even though I hope that there is still more Kratos. But they could do that. Like, that's the crazy part about this. If they have this whole new, like, maybe not trilogy, but like 2-game thing. This new franchise, but it still has the God of label or whatever. They could then still do God of War next one. I don't know. Throwing it out there. Curious to hear your thoughts, of course, in the comments. Yeah. It would be kind of weird, though, thinking, okay, Corey is making a new IP, but it's actually God of War related. To be fair, I would be down for it, too. If it still feels like a new IP. It could be completely different gameplay as well. We will see. But yeah, again, your thoughts, subscribe, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye. Egypt would be epic, actually. And what we really saw as well is that the thesis that we had in Ragnarok, the thesis that we had in Ragnarok were way more for an Asian, like for an Asian mythology game. We had Tyr, of course, do his moves, all his like meditation moves and stuff. So they were really teasing in more maybe Chinese mythology, or a way more like, yeah, a less obvious mythology, while Egypt would be so cool to explore. So what if Corey just makes a whole like Egypt mythology game without Kratos? I don't know. God of Speed Underground, crazy. Atreus becomes a full-grown teenager, finally learns how to use an axe and sword. So the reason why he's actually using a bow is because they want to have Atreus, like they want to have growth for Atreus later on. So I do think we have not seen the last of him. Night Dog is asking, are you going to Gamescom? Sadly not. I do think next year, it's kind of sad. I really liked Gamescom when I went 2 years ago. But no, I sadly have no plans. Reason is that it's just super expensive, and there are just not a lot of games that I think make it worth it for me to be there. Even though it is fun to just see everyone and stuff. But no, I'm sadly not going there. It's gonna be so interesting to see the Corey game, like as a Game Awards trailer or something. And I can totally see it be, whoa, this looks like a new IP, and then they drop the title card where it's like God of. I'm trying to think of any PS2 classics again. We can like maybe look at all the. So here we have all the Sony IPs. EverQuest, God of War, yeah, Horizon, Infamous. Would be cool if he like that would, but that's not big enough. Spider-Man, and they have Spider-Man, so that's probably the reason why they're not doing it. What if he's making like an Uncharted game though? That would be sick. What if Corey is making an Uncharted game? Huh? Resistance again. I'm not seeing anything. Uncharted again would be sick though. That's the only possible one I can see that he's doing an Uncharted. Entertainment franchises. Until Dawn. We know there's probably a sequel. Again, there are not a lot of options. God of Warhawk. Again, I think Uncharted is the only one that warrants the $100 million investment. Warhawk reference is crazy. Only the real ones know. It's PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, yes. That only sold 2 million copies. White Knight Chronicles. Oh, I love the look of that game. Let's put it that way. We have one more topic. Let's do that as well. What? Did you see the Avatar third person update news? Where? Oh my god. Okay, I did not see this coming, but there's a big update coming to Avatar, a third person mode, and a New Game Plus update. Let's watch the trailer for the first time. Third person update, what the heck?
Hi everyone, I'm Omar Bouali, Creative Director on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Since launch, your journey exploring the Western frontier, learning the ways of the Na'vi, and fighting the RDA has come to life through breathtaking photo mode captures and stunning fan art.
It's still one of the most beautiful games out there. It's really insane. I played the first DLC, never played the second one, so with the third person mode I might.
A constant source of inspiration for our team. And now, we're thrilled to continue that journey with you. On December 5th, we will be releasing a free update that includes 2 of the most requested features from the community. First, New Game Plus, letting you replay the story with your inventory and skills, face tougher enemies, and unlock a new skill tree and stronger gear.
New skill tree, stronger gear. Okay. I do think the skill tree is probably going to be passive bonuses. I kind of know Ubisoft, but that's still awesome. That's more than what they usually do. Not sure if I want to go through the whole game again. The story wasn't that great, but hey, I know people want that, and yeah, it's a cool way to get new stuff at least, or new things to do.
And finally, yes, we're very excited to introduce third person. letting you experience Pandora from a whole new perspective at the push of a button.
Whoa.
Whether you're exploring, fighting, or simply taking in the view,
why did they not launch the game with this? It looks so good!
third person brings a new sense of scale, freedom, and immersion. We're working animations, controls, and camera systems to make sure it all feels just right. This update is the next chapter of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which has already been expanded since launch with 2 story packs. The Skybreaker, where you join the great Na'vi
I thought it was pretty fun. I played it in one sitting. The stream is up on the channel, but I thought it was pretty good.
games and experience
Like a 7.
the Zakru migration, and Secrets of the Spires, introducing a stunning mountainous region built to elevate the thrill of Banshee flying. We also hope that you enjoyed our past quality of life updates, including a revamped Hunter's Guide, smoother 40 FPS mode, rebalanced combat, and so much more. With the new free update arriving close to the movie Avatar: Fire and Ash, releasing December 19th, there's never been a better time to play Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
I mean, that's smart. There were rumors about the director's cut, so it seems like they're gonna bundle everything as well. I think it's maybe they cannot do that yet, but you would think that there are like new cosmetics and stuff like that based on the movie. I think that would be pretty cool too. But yeah, this is good. I mean, the game, they have not had an Avatar movie release when this game was out. This game launched 1 year after the second movie. So now the third movie is the first one where they have the game on shelves. Makes sense that they're pushing it. I really hope it gets like a second life. It's way better now. I still have some gripes against it, but I do think it's like the best. Like, it's a really cool way to experience this world, especially that third person mode looks insane. This is what I always wanted. It's kind of sad that
New
they are only
perspective
doing
and
it
the
now, but
push.
again, I could like play the second movie or like the second DLC with this. It does feel like a different game. It does feel like a different game, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, this is awesome. I always thought Indiana Jones was gonna do this, but yeah, Avatar now like kind of reverting back. To be honest, the new game Ghost Recon is of course first person. I'm curious if like a few years after that we will also get a third person mode for that, because it does seem people want that too. But especially for Ubisoft games, people want a third person camera, especially if you have a cool character like this and you're collecting gear all the time and you never really saw it unless you were on a mount. So this is super awesome. Let me know if you're gonna play it, of course, in the comments down below, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye. I'm gonna give Joyce the video so we can quickly publish it. Bleep blah bloop 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 bleep blah bleep blah bloop bloop bleep bleep blah bleep bloop bleep bloop 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 bleep blah bloop bleep blah bloop bloop bloop. I'm not sure why I'm making those weird sounds. I really think if you put like a camera on me during the day, you will hear crazy things. I also move a lot. Not right now, but I sit like this. I'm kind of a crazy person actually. I'm happy that I'm not like Big Brother streaming myself live 100% of the time. I need to play that Indiana Jones game. I know I need to. But yeah, I'm not sure why I'm waiting. Let's see. Yeah, get that thing. Yes, Indiana Jones was a great game. I know many people are saying that. So, Avatar, third person. Bleep. Bleep, bleep, bleep. So that's a very cool surprise. Thanks for noting that, by the way. There was a tease for a third DLC at the end of Secret of the Spires too. Okay, so maybe they might do more. At least they're not remastering the losses for the 14th on the time. Don't give them any ideas. It trips me out. I'm expecting you to end the stream when you say that. It's it has to happen. People for people who are watching the video later. Yes, I want to see the visuals exactly, and yeah. Awesome. I am then going to do this one later. Skyrim re-release coming out this fall. Of course. Of course. PS6 remaster of the losses. Ah. That is pretty sick. Okay, so I'm gonna save that topic for later because we can actually do that other topic. It's Star Wars Outlaws related a little later. I want to thank everyone for watching as always. Hope you have a great rest of the week. You want to keep an eye on the channel. We have some fun stuff happening, of course. And yeah, next week I'm on a holiday. I'm going to Italy. Very, very excited for that. But that does mean that there's no stream. I will be back on the Monday after that though. And then I will be here every Monday. Yeah. But I might be, I will be like completely destroyed one Monday because I go to a festival. But I will keep trying to do all the Monday streams, of course. So there will be a break next week. And after that, we will be back full force with some fun stuff. So thanks always for everyone joining. Hope you have a great rest of this the week. Hope for some Shadows updates soon. Me too. We'll keep you posted. Thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy the food. Oh, I will. I will. It's going to be exciting. Thanks everyone. Goodbye. Yes, I'm going.